Run, party, repeat. Welcome to the East Coast Adventures Dirt and Vert Podcast, where we talk all things running, racing, and training to help you get ready for your next big adventure.
Learn from our successes and our failures, and have fun at the same time. Join us right here every week with inspiring guests who share their captivating tales from the trails. And remember, nobody cares.
Run faster.
All right. Welcome back to the Dirt and Vert Podcast. I'm David.
And I'm Matt.
And we have another returning guest for us. We seem to be doing that a lot this year, which is great because that means that there's some pretty amazing athletes out here doing some cool stuff. And Ashlie just broke and got the Pinhoti FKT. We got to follow along a little bit because of the wonderful photos that Pete Schreiner took. But that's not all that Ashley's been doing since the last time she was on the podcast. So we won't ask Ashlie to tell her whole story again. If you want to hear that, just go back and listen to her previous podcast. It was a really good one. We talk about who she is and how she got into running, but also then she had a really big accomplishment as well involving the Pinhoti Trail. But she was first female and I believe third overall at Southern States 200. So she did a great job at that race, just absolutely crushed it. So we got her on here and wanted to learn more about her. And, here she is now. We're going to learn more about this new attempt that she did on the Pinhoti. But we also want to get caught up since the last time you were on the podcast. So looks like you did Mohican 100 miler since the last time we spoke, and Rebecca Mountain 50 miles. So if you don't care, will you tell us a little bit about Mohican 100 miler? I know absolutely nothing about that race, so I would like to learn a little bit about it too.
Yeah. Again, thanks guys for having me on. I feel like you guys can't get rid of me, but I'm around. And yeah, gosh. So when we spoke last, I think I registered for Mohican as my qualifier for the year, just knowing I could get it in relatively easily logistics wise. My parents live in like Northwest Ohio, actually. So not far from where Mohican is. And so it was purely logistics. Like, this is an easy one to get in. We can drive there, hang out for the weekend. And it's kind of in their backyard. Also, I had done Mohican a few years back, and it's a great course. It's kind of like like 4 loops. But I had, about this time last year, decided to go for the FKT. And then since talking to you guys, had hired a coach. So that was kind of let's get things really rolling and start really focusing on training for what was going to happen in October. And so this was kind of part of the build, but also let's check that Western States, the lottery situation off. But it went well and it was good. It was good to like practice nutrition a little bit more. I feel like you can always practice that, there's always something that comes up. So it was good to do that. And also fun to be out there, visit family, and have my parents get to be a part of it. So my dad got to pace me for a little bit, which was really cool. And my nephew also, who's, now he's almost 18. But at the time he was 17. He got to pace me a little bit too, which was cool. So it was just a fun family affair and a good way to kind of get my training in and kind of start building up for the fall.
So is Mohican a loop course?
Yeah, it is, but like, I feel like if I remember correctly, I'd have to look at it again. There's like 2 loops that are the same, one that has a little variation, and then one that has a different variation. Maybe, okay, let me correct myself. I believe it's 2 and 2 that are pretty much identical, but one of those has just a little tiny variation from the other. So I would say it's basically a loop course, but you'd change a little bit throughout. But a really great logistical, convenience, because you don't have, as crew, they're going to a lot of the main aids. It's really, really practical. So it'd be a great first 100. I think it might have been my second or third. it's beautiful. Kind of technical, but there's some really good runnable spots. And it's just in a beautiful part of the country. So, really fun one. And it's, I want to say, one of the older 100 milers out here. So out east. So
Did
definitely.
did Alec Klein win that one this year?
I'm pretty sure. I'd have to double check. Don't mark my word on
I
that.
think he did, because I think when we had him on the podcast, he was talking about that one and how I think that was his first 100, and then I think when he went back this year, I think he won it.
Yeah, it was cool. Well, I saw him pass, and it was pretty incredible. He had great crew as well with him, so it's always fun to see the different dynamics.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just get to see how everybody does it.
Yeah.
But a great race, highly recommend, especially if you're looking for a good qualifier. It's I want to say the first weekend in June. So it's a little humid out there, but it's not terrible, especially by our standards.
Yeah.
So it's a good one for sure.
I love it. That's I've heard good things about the race, but I don't know anything. I didn't know anything about it, to be honest, other than I've heard people talk about it.
I like the name.
Is it got a lot of elevation, or is it pretty flat?
I want to say just shy of what I think Pinhoti 100 was. I want to say it's so what Pinhoti might be 14 or something like that. I completely pulling that out of nowhere, but I think it's maybe 14, 15. And it's a little less. So, but beautiful. There's some really cool parts that's why. So essentially the one little part that I'm telling you that they take out is I want to say 2 or 3 miles of they called it the Enchanted Forest or something. And basically it's kind of a rugged goes kind of by what I think might be a waterfall that might have dried up, but really cool remote area. And so I think they only want you to do it once just to see it, because it's not available or accessible for the rest of the park of Mohican State Park. So it's really cool. Definitely a neat race in that regard, because it does change, but you still get the loop factor that's convenient enough for crew, for pacers, for people that are spectating. And you're right by the campground, so there's a lot of people camping out, and it just makes it kind of into a party for spectators and for people that are there to see their runners as well. So definitely recommend it.
How big is that loop? If it changes, is it relatively the same every time?
Yeah, I think it's somewhere I think the first 2 are longer. They call them the longer loops, and then the last 2 are the shorter ones. So some I think are just over 25, maybe 27, and then the others are just under. So trying to think what else. I'll be out there. So my parents again live in Ohio, so whenever we go out for Thanksgiving or anything, we get to go out and kind of run on the trails, which is neat. So I'll be out there next week. So it'll be fun to kind of see it and just be out there again, recreate it a little bit.
Yeah.
Man, they even have a bike race. That's cool.
Yeah, I know. I keep trying to convince my husband to do it, because it's he mountain bikes, but I think it's pretty intense. So I think
for 23 years the mountain bike's been going on.
Yeah. It's a really cool community. It feels a lot like some of the races out here in the Southeast that have been going on for a while, like Pinhoti 100, or just some of those that everybody comes back year after year. There are people out there who've done it every year. So it feels really comforting in that way. Just a beautiful part of the country. I feel like one of those spots that you wouldn't see unless you had a reason to be out there.
Yeah.
So really well marked too.
Is the bike course the same as the runner's course, or is it different?
I don't know. I'm not the person to ask on that one. I should know. You won't see me on a mountain bike anytime soon. So I tried that. It didn't go very well.
Yeah, they got a pretty good description on here, so I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, and I think
I might have to put that one on my list.
I saw it and I liked the name, so that's when I saw the name, I'm like, oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, well, it's like Mohican, Cherokee.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, and I mean, you had a really good performance there too, Ashlie. You were third. Yeah, you were third female.
Yep.
And what's interesting and surprising to me is when I look at your ultra sign up, You did that 2 months after Pinhoti. Did you have any issues at all? Did everything feel like you? Because I don't know. 200 miles is kind of hard on the body to race. So,
Yeah.
did you feel
Yeah.
like you were completely healed up and recovered, or did you have some things pop up towards the end of the race?
Yeah, so I credit a lot of that recovery to my coach. So I definitely, we met and kind of got rolling with the FKT in mind. And he's had experience with this type of stuff. So his first priority was like, let's just recover and get a nice base. So we really I didn't do a lot of training. Leading into Mohican. It was a lot of recovery and just getting things moving again. Like he kept saying, you've got a good bit of endurance. I wanted to work on like some cadence and speed and like technical work. And then obviously building into something that I had never done before. So a lot of that was just let's focus on nutrition and let's focus on recovery and then kind of see what happens. Of course, when you get out there, it's a lot harder to not get competitive. Knowing, so I tried not to. It's like, okay, I'm here for a purpose. I'm here, yes, to get my ticket for the lottery for Western States, but also like for training to really think about what I need to be doing in the fall, and what my body needs to be learning from this experience. So in short, my body felt good. It was mostly those 2 months before just recovering and getting moving efficiently again. So I don't think there was anything that really went off. Honestly, my stomach was probably the hardest thing. It was pretty warm, and I think I was trying to up my calories and my carbs and everything, and it worked really well at first, but then you have to troubleshoot as you always do. So it was a good learning experience for that reason. I definitely think I learned a lot. So yeah, my body held up pretty well.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And then Rebecca Mountain, you podiumed as well. So you're on a roll here.
On a roll of podium without competing.
Rebecca Mountain's like an always a bridesmaid, never a bride on that one. I feel like I'm always gonna be like right close. But there's some real fast ladies out here, and 50 miles is fast. Y'all are like very good at running 50 miles. I'm very impressed. But I did. That was my. I had built that into. Well, I had not. Michael, my coach, had built that into a full training weekend. So the plan was to do Rebecca Mountain and then start again the next day at Trammell, which is part of the Pinhoti, and that's where Rebecca Mountain kind of veers off. So the race itself, kind of the last, I don't know, I'm going to say this wrong, but maybe 10, 15 miles, probably 15, goes off the Pinhoti. So my husband drove me out the next day to Trammell, which is where it cuts off. And then I ran Trammell. We called it the what do we call it? I guess like Trammell to Flag 50K. So I ran from Trammell to Flag to see that part of the course because I had not seen it, or of the trail. And so it was kind of a building block weekend to do it back to back and like practice my nutrition after Rebecca Mountain, get some sleep, and then wake up and kind of do it all over again. So that was the intention there. So it worked, I think.
I was going to say, it looks like it worked pretty well.
That's some good training.
Yeah, I think the training leading into it was a success because that was the fastest I had done that race. And I think I've done it 6 or 7 years now. So it felt good to know that was something was changing. And I felt like, I don't know, one way or another, it was maybe just a good day, but it felt like it was benefiting me. So I was really happy and excited when that was done. That was kind of my last big building block weekend before it started to kind of wind down a little.
What did you change anything for your nutrition since you've had a coach? Like, have you been working on how different ways to fuel?
Yeah, I think a lot more carbs. which is, what everybody's doing, and clearly it's working. So trying to get my stomach to take in a lot more carbs.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm like super, super high carb, but especially because what I'm doing, it's a lot longer. You don't need super high carb throughout the entire time at a lower speed. But I do think it helped to be more intentional in the early parts of my training, even when I wasn't doing high mileage, just to really kind of like get my stomach more acclimated to eating more throughout. I think that was really helpful. So pretty much doing the same thing, same fueling, a lot of precision, fuel and hydration, a lot of gels, and a lot of the same stuff, but trying to take in a little more, trying to get in more liquid calories too, and just trying to, work on that and get my gut to where it really cooperated. So,
love it. So how did you end up going after the Pinhoti FKT? So how did this idea become, the project it is, and you obviously setting the FKT, but where did it come from?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Pinhoti, and I probably said this in the last time we talked, is just really special. It's where I started trail running. It's where I really kind of got my feet wet and got to know the community. So doing Southern States was a given. And then during the first time I did Southern States, Todd Henderson, who runs the Pinhoti 100, he and his wife Jamie, who are incredible, they were out there at the High Rock aid station and were helping me. And I was on a high. I was feeling really good. We had, I don't know, maybe 40 miles left. I have to think about it. But I was feeling excited, and I just said, like, you know what? We need to add, 100 some odd miles and just make this whole thing like the entire trail so we can see the whole thing. And he kind of laughed at me, and he was like, Ashlie, you mean an FKT? And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess so. And then just kind of went on my merry way. And then a couple weeks later, after I recovered, I kept thinking, like, man, I really want to see the rest. I've seen now from what I saw on Pinhoti 100, and now we're adding Southern States and little pieces from other races here and there, and realized that I was like 80 miles shy of seeing the entire trail. So it's like either I'm going to go out and through hike it, which takes a lot of time. I think on average it's like 3 weeks, depending on how fast you're going. So it's like, I want to see this whole thing. And so it just kind of was one of those little like thoughts in my head of how can we figure that out. And I texted my friend Joseph, who's really familiar with the FKTs on the trail. And I was like looking at the times, and I definitely was intimidated. Like, this is way out of my wheelhouse, but like start doing dumb trail math. Like, well, if I did this one at this time, and, I don't know, just saw that it was maybe within reach. Not knowing if it was, I like mentioned it to my husband, Matt, and I said, this would be kind of fun. And he looked at it and was like, I think you should go for it. And then I'm pretty sure that same night I said, like, if you say that and you really mean it, like, we have to really mean it, because you know what happens when I get these things in my head. And he was like, yeah, I know. So at that point, it was probably last September maybe that we decided, like, okay. And he said, I want to give it a full year, so that way we can really plan well. And logistically, there's just not a lot of time to pull off something like this. We have a kid, and we had to kind of schedule with what we thought would be the best season to be out there, and all those things. So we knew spring wasn't an option. So we said, let's give it to October. And we picked October 16th, and it stuck. So that's the long story of how we picked.
Oh, that's
how we
awesome.
did it. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, how did the planning and preparation go? Was that something that you led the way, or did he lead the way?
Yeah, it was definitely a team effort. I think initially it was me thinking like, okay, training and getting my head into that game. But somewhere around June-ish, we started setting up like regular, we called them like FKT dates, and we would go to our local like workspace and like put it on our Google calendars, and we just sat down and like poured over spreadsheets, and it kind of evolved from like, okay, we have the spreadsheets and now we kind of think we know what we're doing, and then like we probably need to get a van, and it just kind of gets bigger. And now we're committed, so it's like, if we're gonna do this, we got to do it like all in. In fact, our like motto that we started to go by was burn the boats. Like, and after a few months in, we were like, we are in. We had saw somewhere that they said like back in battles in the war days, well, I guess war days, they used to say that. And it was like, we got to burn the boats because we have to, like, we're going to battle, and whatever happens, like, we're putting everything in. So that we started saying like July, and then we kind of poured over all of the spreadsheets, the crew and pacer information, things we needed. And then we did like a recon mission out in Blue Ridge because I wanted to see the northern terminus, and we needed to scout some of that section in Georgia that I hadn't seen. So we took Finn out there, and we stayed at an Airbnb and spent the weekend checking it out. And that was kind of where we really started getting things moving and stuff. So
did your planning include, like, were you setting up like milestones of like, if you're starting on, October, did you say 16th, 17th, 16th?
Yep.
Like, did you have mileage days and like where you wanted to be at certain points, or was you just going to kind of like whatever the day gave you, you're going to do it?
Yeah, that's I think it started with like, I started thinking, okay, 70 miles a day. If you want it around 5 days, I knew, Corey's record was 127 something. Alyssa's was 134. So it was like, okay, I want to go for like 5 days. That's 70 miles a day. How can we chunk that up? Knowing that some sections are a lot more challenging, some are a little more cruisy. So I think initially we thought, let's try to get around there. And then as we got familiar with, where he would stop and where we would be a little slower, we kind of adjusted those a bit. And then honestly, in execution, it was just like fly by the seat of your pants and just hold on. But yes, we did have kind of a plan. I don't know that we stuck to it past the first day, but it was good. Definitely.
I mean, yeah, I think, who was it? Ken that we had on here?
Yeah.
He ran Vol State and made this huge plan. And he said, plan's the plan. You have the plan going in, and basically he was saying like, you have the plan, but the plan will change as soon as you start the race. But having the plan is key.
Yeah.
And like from a logistic, like we've got people coming out to help. And so you have to have some sort of, hey, it's going to be around this time point. And Matt is incredible with like figuring out logistics and delegating, and he had to contact people, hey, we're going to be at this spot, this is where we're going to meet, and leapfrogging vehicles and all of that. He's always been very good at in all of the events we've done together. So I felt really comfortable knowing that he would adapt as we went, and that my job wasn't really to do anything other than run. So I was really lucky for that.
Now, here's a really interesting question I would like to know, and that's how did you plan on food? Because you can only put so much stuff in a Sprinter van to begin with, and and obviously it's five. If you plan on being there at least 5 days, 4 or 5 days, which you're going to be there a little longer because you're going to get there before. But how did you plan your food and nutrition, and like having it ready for you and fixed, and then keeping it stocked up?
Our plan was, so when you say Sprinter van, it sounds much more glamorous than what we had. I don't know if you thought, it was literally an Enterprise cargo van, which was great because they were asking what we were using it for, to like work on our mileage, and it actually was great because they gave us unlimited mileage because it had taken longer than they thought for us to get the vehicle. So in a change of events, they ended up asking what we were using it for, and I'm pretty sure they didn't really believe what was about to happen. They were like, okay, sure. So when I say that, it was like, we have an ice chest, nothing super fancy. It was a great setup though. So what we started with was a lot of Uncrustables, a lot of like, I had like rice bowls and mashed potatoes that we could heat with anything that we could heat with water was the plan. And then we figured we would kind of go to like the fast food takeout options in any of the big towns. So like Dalton and Rome, we knew we'd have really great access to that. So we'd try to get our bigger meals in those locations. And then everything in between would be like mashed potatoes, Uncrustables, some ramen, some rice. I mean, nothing great, but just convenient. I didn't want Matt to feel like he was, like a chef throughout the whole thing. He had enough to deal with. So it's like, what could be easy to prepare? And I think that worked. It obviously like a ton of gels. I think we had, I don't know how many I ordered from the feed, but it was like at least 50, and they were all gone. They're like the 90-gram precision.
Yep.
And they were gone. Like we started rationing them towards the end. So a lot of gels, but then a lot of like easy snacks like Cheez-Its and Gushers and things that I could pack in. And then I tried to eat more substantial things that were harder to move with, like mashed potatoes, while I was at the van. And then we got lots of food along the way, like pizza and French fries and stuff, junk.
Yeah. She talks about ramen like it's not good. I'm like, ramen noodles is the best stuff ever in a race.
Like, I'm actually going to take those with me this weekend. I'm going to take me some ramen.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. Well, to be fair, so I'm vegetarian, and I was thinking like, maybe I don't want the chicken ramen. I don't know what I was thinking. And so I went rogue. I went with some like kind of bougier, like, I don't know, it was a plant-based imitation ramen. Should have tried it out. It did not hit well. It was fine on my stomach. It didn't taste good. It tasted like cardboard. So that quickly went out the window. That's probably where I get it. I love ramen. My son loves ramen. He has it more often than I should admit.
Yeah.
But don't get the fancy stuff.
No, you got to stick with the chicken ramen. It's
Chicken
the best.
ramen, yep.
I know.
At one point, they've released this. I've never bought it, but there was one company that came out and they make protein ramen.
Yeah.
And it's like, it has like, I don't know, 9 or 10 grams of protein. It's supposed to be like super healthy. And I'm like, it probably doesn't taste nowhere near the same.
Some things you just keep simple and just leave it.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. And like in that like vein, we got a bunch of the like Orgain mini like protein shakes.
Yeah.
So I would supplement with that. So I could get some like protein to add to. I didn't need like a ton, but it was enough that like I could do that in between along with like, so there's a lot of like protein shakes and mashed potatoes and
All right. And then I have one more question, and then we'll talk through the story. But last question. Did you change clothes like 2 or 3 times a day, or did you actually hang stuff up? Because in the South, we have humidity. Stuff really doesn't dry. I've tried, we tried at Vol State, running with our clothes hanging on the back of our backpacks. They never did dry.
No.
So, and it's funny to hear people come and like try to do an FKT on the AT, and they're like, I'm just going to hang my stuff up. It'll dry. It doesn't.
Yeah. No. And it's not going to smell any better either. Yeah. No. I tried to change whenever I rested, which wasn't often, so probably not often enough. You'll probably smell me coming for a while. I had, a lot of the same exact clothes. Like I like this one top from Rabbit, and I had 3 versions of it. So it looks like I'm wearing the same thing most of the time. In fact, I just changed into the same version of it. It also made it easier for Matt, and anything that could make it easier, he just like grab the same thing.
Yeah.
But no, it's not going to dry. It was, I feel like by our standards, the weather was perfect. It was a little warm and humid on the first day and a half or two. enough that there were still spiders and spider webs out.
Oh,
Much to James's demise, he like had a million of those. So, but in short, we got really lucky with the weather, so it wasn't as miserable as it could have been as far as humidity and like staying, real wet and stuff like that. So I got lucky.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you basically just changed like once a day right before you were going to.
Yeah, it was like change. I would usually like change right before I'd rest, so I'd feel like I was dry. And so that seemed to work well.
Did he stop at any of the laundromats on the way?
No. Oh, actually, there was one time, like the first day I wore a pair of shorts that I was like, Matt, I'm going to run out of shorts. I didn't pack like enough I packed like 5, but I didn't have enough to change multiple times.
Yeah.
And I said, would you mind doing like one, like he doesn't know how to like clean these. But I had packed like some liquid Tide in a bucket for my feet, not the Tide, but the bucket for my feet. And I was like, could you just like, I'll show you real quick, just put a little in here, let it dry. And he did do that, which was great because it saved me one full outfit. But I mean, you put it on and, not long after you just, it looked the exact same. So you just roll with it. I just feel bad for everybody else around me.
I went Vol State with the exact same clothes.
Did you really?
For 6 days. Oh, yeah.
How did that, like, the chafing is what I'm the most concerned about because the sweat builds up and then I feel like maybe that's just a me thing.
No.
The only chafing I had was my feet.
Okay.
Then I had blisters with heat.
I was gonna say he had
heat rash.
blisters.
Had heat rash. Yeah, I had that
Yeah.
pretty bad. But
Oh, well, maybe that's just a me problem. I feel like the sweat builds up and it's like everywhere. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, so tell us, like, day one, how did what was the goal and how did everything start? Did everything start the way you expected it? Because sometimes there are these horror stories of everything just goes wrong on day one, but it gets better as the days go by.
yeah, I feel like it went like really good day one to give you like an overview, really bad day 2. And into day 3, and then it like went up from there. So, day 1, so I started at the northern terminus, for a couple of reasons, but primarily because I wanted to run south. That's the direction I had run all the races. It's familiar. But I was also running to what is our home now, is Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
So you pass Birmingham, but it felt like we were running home. So and also Alyssa had done it running south. So even though I like ultimately wanted to go for the overall and Corey had done it north, with Pinhoti, it's either direction. So we started heading south in Blue Ridge area, North Georgia, where it intersects with the Benton Mackay.
Mm-hmm.
You do have to hike in like a mile-ish. It's not terrible. So we hiked in. Matt and I stayed the night at an Airbnb, and we hiked in. He left me. We wanted to start right at 6 just for logistics. Makes it easier to have a nice round number. So we got there a few minutes early and kind of enjoyed the like beautiful, still dark out. Looked at the moon and turned up our headlamps and then just said, okay, let's go. So the start was great. It felt really smooth and easy. There was a few little sections I had not seen, but I had seen a lot of that when we went out there to scout it in August.
Mm-hmm.
But fortunately, the trails were even way better condition because in the summer they get super overgrown, lots of spiders and stuff. So I was happy. The trails were feeling great. I felt like I was moving well. We had made like arbitrary splits on like Ultra Pacer, on their like how you calculate where you should be, and they were totally arbitrary, and I really probably shouldn't have been thinking of them, but it made me excited to feel like we were on track. And Matt was kind of on his own all day, so we would check in. My tracker wasn't working, but that was fine. We kind of expected it to be, it's a Garmin InReach. It's not like anything super, it's not going to track every second. So it was moving well. And I finished the first trail section, started at the Dennis Mill trailhead, you start on road in Georgia, which was the first of 3 road walks. And I'm not a huge fan. I mentioned this in the past. I don't love the road walk sections. And we had planned it. We're knowing we were going to be there kind of like just shy of rush hour. So I put on all my, high visibility gear and kind of just went out there. But the section felt really good. The people on the road were pretty courteous, and it's nice to move. And I also knew I get to see James, my first pacer. So winner of Southern States, absolutely incredible athlete, and we've gotten to know each other well since both running it. And so he wanted to pick me up in Dalton, which is an area that he's very familiar with, so I was grateful. But also because kindly enough, he said, I feel like you're going to have a lot of people on the back end, so I want to make sure I can be there and help on the front. So that was really kind and helpful for sure. And that led us into about dusk. We started into Dalton. And that was going well. By the time the sunset was starting to feel a little nauseous. And I think a lot of that was a combination of the heat and just probably cooking a little bit faster than I should have. I was feeling good, so I kept moving well. As we all know, it's like, oh, I'll just, stash these miles and it'll be great.
Yep.
And it's never the case. So that got kind of interesting because then we do this big climb up Dalton, out of Dalton towards the trailhead, and right before we got to the van, it's now like, I don't know, maybe 8 or so at night. It's dark. I threw up pretty good, but I'm like, it's fine. It's no big deal. This is normal. So we get to the van, and Matt's got pizza, and he's excited to see us. And I quickly ate 2 pieces and then like projectiled it everywhere. I caught it, but it was messy. And then and then at the same time we saw police lights behind us that came, and they were wondering what we were doing. Because apparently someone had called in because James was lurking outside the vehicle, being so kind as I threw everything up and giving me some space. So the wheels kind of fell off a little for a minute there on night 1. But quickly we got back. James, again, knows his stuff. He's an incredible athlete, and he was like, I think you're low on salt, so let's start popping some salt pills right away. And he took charge. He was like, we're going to do this every hour until you feel better, until you can keep food down more. And he did. He wouldn't let me go more than an hour without giving me another salt pill. And we just kind of moved along together. He got all the spider webs from everything. But it was really neat because we were going into the section where Snake Creek, which is where the first aid for Southern States. So it felt familiar, and all of a sudden to be like, hey, we didn't start this together. He flew past me, but we got to experience this together twice now. And so we kind of celebrated knowing like, hey, this is something that now the next 200 miles in theory, we've seen. It changes a little bit from the Pinhoti, but it's pretty similar. So that was day 1. We ended up getting to, I don't remember exactly when we got to John's Mountain Overlook, but we kind of completed the day together until sunrise. And so he did a big, huge chunk with me, which was great because I really needed it that day. So,
did you get your 70 miles?
I think I was maybe right at or just a little shy. So I don't know where the mileage added up because I don't think I ever got 70 in a day. Maybe I did, and maybe it was that first day. I'd have to look at it. But
what do you think caused your stomach to go so bad on day 1?
I think it was salt because the salt fixed it really well. I think I had been taking in a lot of liquids and not enough salt because I was really like sloshy and stuff.
Yeah, I got your electrolytes pretty far out of balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I've experienced that before, But the way that James like handled it was so calm and like, hey, is your stomach sloshy? And I was like, yeah. He's like, okay, your fingers swelling. I'm like, yeah. But all things that you experience, and like all these things are normal. But to be able to troubleshoot it so quickly and not like panic, saying like, okay, this is what we're gonna do, and you are not gonna make any calls. I'm gonna basically tell you when to eat and when to take a salt pill, and we're just gonna cruise into the night. And so that was really comforting. And I know for Matt too, just having somebody that had eyes on me was helpful for him. So
it pays dividends to have an experienced runner
oh
with
my gosh.
you, because you kind of sometimes can, what's going on, but you don't see yourself.
Yeah.
And you're already like just trying to like, I can do this, I can push through, I got this. And you're not really focused on, is my electrolytes off, or am I behind on fueling?
I'm not 8. Yeah.
And it's, and you've been on that side of it where you're crewing somebody and you're like, oh, you need salt or you need fuel. And so it's always great choice to have someone with you that has that experience.
It was like such a simple solution. But like at the time I'm like, it's okay, I throw up, it happens. Like, and that's true. But unfortunately then, then I had not realized how much of a deficit I was in. So that's where day 2 got really messy so then I'd thrown up and I'm trying to manage and like make sure I don't like lose, don't start eating too much and throw up again. So we're eating small bites and it was working really well. I was in better spirits. But as we got into day 2 and kind of throughout the day, we realized pretty quickly, because I couldn't stop crying, that I was just really low on calories. So then it was, now let's fix this. Now she's great on salt and electrolytes. We got to figure out how to get a lot of calories in without throwing them all up again. So that became the objective of day 2. So
how long did it take to get that under control?
It took almost all day, which is why it was the lowest.
Wow.
I mean, James paced me through till about sunrise, and then I did a good stretch by myself. I think I might have taken like a 30-minute nap before, which was my first sleep. I didn't want to sleep there, but I realized like the sun's about to come up, or it had just started to come up. So I was like, this is a good time to just reset. And it did help. It helped my stomach. And so I set off, did a section by myself. And then my good friend Chris, who's paced me in a lot of these events and is a great athlete himself, came out and paced me. And he knew, because I can tell they're all talking behind my back. He knew that it was like, we need to get calories in and we need to cruise. So that worked well. But around that second evening, we had just gotten to outside of Cave Springs. So we're getting ready to do our next road walk. And I couldn't stop crying. And I was like, I'm feeling so discouraged. I couldn't like keep anything positive. I like pulled Matt behind the van and I was like, I'm just not good enough. This is not going well. And I was really on track. I wasn't that far off from where I wanted to be. But when your brain is you're just like so hungry, you don't even realize it. It's running on empty. So that's when the guys were like, we're going to go get you a real big pizza and we're going to make you walk with that pizza. And so, and to answer that question, it was night 2 after nightfall that it finally, the pizza was sitting, nothing, I felt not sick anymore. And it really started to reset me, but we didn't realize how low I had gotten until I couldn't stop crying, which is a great look. I think Chris even said at one point, he like we're at this beautiful spot, like High Point, Georgia, like right outside of, like after what was the Mac White aid station at Southern States. This beautiful ridge line, and it's just incredible views, and it's fall. And I'm just crying, and he's like, are we having fun still? And I was like, no. But that was the low, and it all got much better after that, for the most part.
It's funny that you say that, because it is very true with the fuel part. Like, some people get irritable some people get sad.
Yeah.
Some people get like just so lethargic. They just they can't do nothing. The world is ending. They want to lay down right then.
Yeah.
You know, and my fiance, we have a running joke because she's like, if she doesn't eat, period, like throughout the day, she'll say, if I'm crying, just get me food.
Oh, wow.
And it's funny, and it's
like
very
it.
true. Like when she starts getting really sad or she's like upset, I'm like, are you hungry? She's like, I am.
I mean, it's not the worst thing to say, and I think I'm gonna just use that as my new mantra. Like, I'm crying, give me food. Like Matt was so like he came to me with like mashed potatoes, and I couldn't see another Uncrustable. Like it was just the end of everything. That, and I was like, I think I just need real food. So it did. It does. It helps. I just carried. I think there's a picture, and it's like them with a box of pizza, and they were like, don't even run. It's like this beautiful flat section. And he's like, they're like, don't run, just walk and eat your pizza. And I did.
Love it.
Like
So,
a big girl.
so at the end of day 2, are you behind?
I was behind where I wanted to be. So what it was is I really wanted to do my first big sleep in Cave Springs. There's a really great, it's called Rollator Park, a really great like public park there that we do in Western states. So my mind was, I want to get through the road walk in Rome, and I want to get to Cave Springs, and then we're outside of Rome, sorry. I want to get to Cave Springs. I want to take like a big, like 2-3 hour sleep. And that was my plan. But I ended up sleeping at is Huffaker Road. It was like a gas station, which was our aid station before that. And it was the best choice for a couple reasons, but primarily because I needed it then. James hung out with Matt for a little longer and was like, they were deciding which way to go and how to help counsel me. And so we all kind of came to the decision that it'd be best to just sleep. Then it was getting to be dark. And so Matt and I did our first like big sleep-ish. It was like 2 hours, I think, at literally a gas station, just in the van. But the best part is, in doing that, it meant that I got to do the last part of the road walk that I really don't love in traffic in the middle of the night. It was like 1 a.m. So there was not a soul out there. You go on the highway for some parts. I mean, I know you guys can relate with like Ball State. It's just like, I don't want to be near cars more than I have to be.
Yep.
And it was so peaceful. It was, the stars were out, and I just turned on my headphones and could move pretty well. And so that kind of felt like a turn. So to answer that question though, I was behind, but it was not as much as it felt in my mind, in my sad, tired, hungry mind.
Did you feel like you were still capable at this point of breaking the record, or did you have some doubt in your mind?
When I woke up that first or after that nap, it was like routine. It was like oatmeal and coffee. And once I got the coffee in, it was like, okay, we're good. And it was just, again, I can't reiterate, it was the most beautiful night, like backcountry roads in Georgia where nobody is, you know, it's a Friday night. So I kept thinking like, I'm sure people are coming home from the club, just thinking like, what is this girl doing? And it was just really peaceful. And so I could move really well. And that felt really encouraging. So I actually, at that point, I must have been on a real high, because I remember sending a couple voice messages to people. Nathan Wright, who runs the Pinhoti Outdoor Center, had helped with a lot of the planning. And I was like, Nathan, I'm feeling great. I think I messaged James and was like, I'm not throwing up. And then I called Matt and said like, hey, or I texted and said, hey, just keep sleeping and I'll meet you. I'll skip the next aid. We'll meet at the second, the 2 ahead. Because I just was feeling good. So it was a good turn to feel positive and to realize that I could catch up on a lot of time in that like quiet middle of the night, you know, running in the middle of the road and hopefully not getting hit, but everything.
How long was that road section that you were on?
I think it's a total of 17 miles. I had shaved off a little bit before. So it was a little bit shy of that. But it's a big stretch. So I think we had it broken down to like 8 and then 8.5. So a little bit less than that to get to Cave Springs at Rollator Park. But I cruised through that really efficiently, and I'm not a road runner, so it felt good to move fast and fast-ish. Yeah, and then I got to Cave Springs and Rollator Park, and Matt was there. It was still dark out, so he had gotten some hash browns from Jack's and a Coca-Cola, and it was like just a good calorie bomb, and kind of sent me back on my way.
I love it.
Yeah. What is Jack's?
Jack's is
you don't know what Jack's is?
I don't know what Jack's is.
I had so much fast food on this thing. Yeah, it's the only place open because I think he got it at like 4 a.m. or I don't know what time they open. But he was like, hash browns seemed like a good idea, and it was the best. Like hash browns, they're little mini hash browns. They were like tater tots, I guess, maybe.
Yeah,
amazing.
Never heard of Jack's.
I remember what I was going to ask now.
Yeah.
When did Pete show up?
Yeah, so Sunday night, night 3.
So Pete's not there yet.
Nope. Pete was working on another project. I want to say in North Carolina. So he was out there Sunday evening is when he came.
Okay.
I'm like second guessing that.
So we're almost to Pete then.
So
yeah.
So what she's saying is Pete missed all the crying photos.
Yeah. He missed some really good
missed
opportunities,
all of it.
especially the throwing up. Pete
Pizza
would have been
throwing
all
up.
over
Oh,
that.
yeah.
He would have got some really good content. I mean, there's a few pictures that I'm like, well, that's rough looking. But then those would have been pretty brutal. But Pete's gotten enough action of me over the last few years. So he's seen some lows. There were still lows to be had, to be fair.
So you got to end that little section with hash browns and a Coca-Cola, which is amazing.
It is.
Oh, gosh, so good.
You know, it's after a really, really long run, man, I just love Coke.
I do too.
Like any type of soda. I just
it.
love it. So I would imagine that was like you said it well, a sugar bomb, like, calorie bomb, but it's also a sugar bomb. You feel like $1 million after you down a big soda.
Oh, yeah.
That is so good.
So you take off and you run some through the night then after doing the road section?
Yeah, so it was still pre-dawn hours. We're in Southern States territory, so to speak, from the race. So it was I knew that area very well, and you're getting ready to go up towards Flagpole Mountain. So, you do a little bit more road, and then you do some kind of, really nice rolling trails. And then you get to like the base of where Flagpole Mountain is, and that's actually where you get to the border of Alabama and Georgia. So it was a milestone to be like getting ready to get to that area. One thing we hadn't factored in, we had thought about hunting a lot in the planning process, and I had talked to Nathan about what that looked like. I knew what was likely going to be happening hunting season.
Yeah.
But I think had planned to be just outside of Georgia on Saturday, but I was a few hours into Georgia still. So as soon as the sun came up, you could just hear guns all over.
Oh, yeah.
And so fortunately I just threw my vest on and it was fine. But that was a little like, ugh, this is not fun. Please just see me. This is not how I want to die. I mean, I can get hit by a car or like, I don't know, all kinds of other things. But I really don't get shot. So that got kind of interesting, but then we got to Jackson Chapel, which is right where the base of kind of Flagpole Mountain climb is. And then I went up there by myself. And this whole day I did pretty much independently. Matt was out there, but I didn't have a pacer until what was going to be the following day. So just kind of took it slow and steady and did what I needed to do to make sure I was cared for. And then got to the Georgia-Alabama border, which felt really nice and kind of like a good milestone. Flagpole Mountain is really interesting because it's this big, beautiful view with the massive, massive American flag right after you cross into Alabama. But after that, there's like it's an easement on the land where they have an ATV park. And so there's a lot of people out there, and it was a Saturday, so it was just really busy, really dusty, and kind of demoralizing because the trail itself is a little bit, I guess, interrupted by the course that these ATVs run on.
Mhm.
So that kind of was a little bit of a bummer. But once I got through that section and saw Matt at what was High Point, Alabama, I was feeling okay, and we were kind of pleased with where our time was and kind of made up a little bit. So, yeah, and then that was like midday on day 3, I guess. So yeah, so then we kind of cruise. I'm trying to think. We cruised through High Point into Low Point, and into like eventually everything was pretty uneventful. Had some good food. Matt brought again, trying to wing it with whatever he could find. And I said something, I think at one point, like a California roll sounds really good, which is very taboo. Like, probably not a smart call, but it sounded really good. And he found some California rolls that were amazing. And so I had some sushi.
Ooh.
I mean, there wasn't very much fish in it, but it was pretty good. And kind of cruised into the night. And then this was where Matt kind of said, we had originally planned to do this in the Jeep, which I'm really glad we didn't. But he said, I'm going to have to probably miss this next aid station because I don't know that the van can make it through. So he kind of told me you're going to have to do about 15 miles, and then I'll see you on the other side. Which I was very positive at that point, and I was like, oh, it's fine. I can do 15 miles. I don't need you. And I was going into Duggar Wilderness, which was the first wilderness section of the whole thing.
Mhm.
There's 3. There's Duggar, there's Chiaha, and then Weogufka at the very end. And Duggar, all the wildernesses are less marked, and they're a little bit harder to navigate. There's a lot of blowdown and just a lot harder, especially at night.
Mhm.
And I know other people who've gotten turned around in those sections, so I was very aware of that, had scouted them, but going into the middle of night 3 and doing it solo, I was a little apprehensive. And then we also knew that there was a storm coming Sunday morning. So we wanted to go through the entire night and then sleep at least a little bit through the storm, so we didn't have to I didn't have to run in the storm, which was a great idea. But it meant I had to keep moving, and there was no time to rest. So the Duggar section at night with the storm kind of coming in and it getting really cold and windy, and trying to be efficient was kind of a little I don't know, it was a little intense because kind of hard to navigate that point, 3 days in. So I got a little turned around and kind of discouraged. But Matt came running in the other side, and he hiked in 2 or 3 miles and met me so we could kind of run out together. And that was really, really nice. So,
Oh, that was probably a mental boost too when you saw him.
yeah, it was like I had a headlamp and a waist lamp, but at some point I must have gotten enough cell service and said hey, my headlamp's died. If you're waiting for me, if you don't mind coming in, that'd be great. And I'm so glad. There was a moment where I thought that was really dumb because, there's no cell service. He doesn't know this part of the trail. So if he also gets confused or lost, then we're really in trouble.
Oh yeah.
But fortunately I saw his headlamp and it was perfect timing. So we kind of bolted through, and at that point it's 2 a.m. and I needed to get the next section done in about 2.5 hours to beat the storm. So I just took off as fast as I could through to Coleman Lake area, and I was like, okay, we're gonna go really fast and try to beat the storm. And I almost did. I got to maybe a mile out of the van, and Matt had also hiked in to meet me there, which was amazing. And just as soon as I saw him, it just starts dumping. So we had like a real fun but also stressful 1 mile of like, please don't get struck by lightning. And it's pouring, and now he's wet, and he's got his glasses on, so he can't see. And looking back, like, such a fun memory, but at the time it was like, oh my gosh. So that was the only bit of the rain, and then we got to the van, and it was like 5 a.m. and we quickly put on dry clothes and just passed out on the air mattress for, I think, almost 3 hours. That was my longest sleep. So it was really nice. And that was like exactly how long the storm lasted. So
that was some well-deserved sleep.
And I bet with the sound of the rain, I mean, right there puts me to sleep.
So cool.
It
was
yeah.
So cool. It was like a moment that I wanted to enjoy. Like I said, passed out is like exactly what happened. But it was a really cool moment to like share it with Matt and like to see our, vision kind of come to life and know we were like pretty much halfway and had gotten this far. So it was cool.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're getting close now, right?
Yeah. Closer to Pete.
Yeah. Closer to the finish too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you starting to, is your morale starting to like lift now that you're like well over half at this point?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, well, two things is I woke up, Matt, I mean, you guys, like the vibe in the van that Matt had set, we had Christmas lights in there. He had a music, like he had Bluetooth, like the speaker was, and the playlist was on point. So every time we would kind of go to the van, it was like a blessing and a curse because I wanted to stay there and just like drink coffee and like jam. But he woke me up, handed me coffee, handed me oatmeal, made me eat a second oatmeal. And right then my two of my good friends, the first girls to join me, like just like screeched in their vehicle with their music going and were just super hyped to see me. So that was, not to mention like, okay, we're at a good spot. We're doing well. I'm going to my favorite sections of the trail. They're all really familiar because now we're close to where the Pinhoti 100 starts in Pine Glen. So seeing those people come in and just like the momentum was building, and it felt like, okay, we might finish this. We'll just see what happens. So yeah, my friends Jess and Natalie jumped in. Natalie had never done a trail run, but is an avid runner. Jess and I have run trails many times. So it was cool to see it through Natalie's eyes. She was just like, this is terrifying. And like, also there's a lot of snacks, which is really cool. And we just like cruised. We turned on Taylor Swift's new album and just like sang and like caught up on life and like each other's families and actually beat Matt to that aid station, which felt also great. Just for him to come in and be like, what are you guys doing? You guys are doing amazing. That was a big boost. And it was a lot because of the energy they brought and like their enthusiasm and joy to be out there. So
needed some Tay-Tay as well.
Yeah, yeah. I know. We were feeling it. It was a beautiful day. And like we just started singing as loud as we could. We saw a few through hikers. And yeah, it hit real well.
That's awesome. I mean, it's kind of fun that, kind of opposite in a way too, but it's kind of fun that you had such a terrible start. But it sounds like you're really having a fun finish, which makes it that much more memorable.
It really was. And it's like experiencing it with people. I mean, poor Chris and James probably got the worst of it. But to be fair, they had the most experience in anything like this. So they were the ones that probably could handle it the best and know like, this isn't something we need to be super concerned about. We just need to be strategic and like fix the problem. And then everybody else that came in, it was the perfect time. Like the girls just needed to have fun. And then that led me in eventually later on in the evening as we got closer to Chiha. my husband's friend Cody, who's now my friend Cody, he is a cyclist and runner, and he came out. And I mean, we had known each other a little bit, but got to know each other incredibly well on the climb up Chiha. And he was just an amazing cheerleader and just really great guy. And so we really bonded and like got to experience the climb in the middle of the night, which was something he had never experienced. So it just kind of just seeing somebody have fun with you and experience the trails through fresh eyes, but also respect what's going on and see like the purpose behind it, and push and tell me like, you're doing it, you're doing amazing. I'm so impressed. I'm so excited for you. But also let's just like, shoot the breeze and catch up on life, is what you need, like in a pacer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and that got us to Pete when we got to Chiha. So.
And I'm sure that raised your spirits a little bit too.
Yeah. So he was there, brought some pizza, and Cody and I left to do the next wilderness section, which is Chiha Wilderness. Again, I was a little apprehensive because when I had helped James in his attempt in April, I was in charge of this section, and we definitely got lost. And I felt like the worst pacer ever. So I had scouted that section at least 2 or 3 times since, just because I was like, this cannot happen on my watch. But Cody was great. He navigated beautifully. And so we got through that section. It was long and definitely one of those that we were happy to see finish. But I remember at one point I shared with him my, burn the boats mantra. And so he kept saying that, and he learned that, this is not my proudest thing, but my first concert was Britney Spears. So he was using that like against me, playing some Britney Spears music. I'm not really like a huge Britney fan, but I was young and,
She was the thing back then, though.
Oh, it was great. And honestly, she's got some jams.
Yeah.
So, so we just had fun in that moment. I took like one little tiny trail nap for like 5 minutes, and finally got through Chiha Wilderness. And that was another relief because I was like, okay, 2 of the 3 wilderness sections are done. We did not get lost. We had to stop and look at, far out a couple times, but we made it. And he was also amazing at navigating, especially considering he had not done that before. So it was cool. So that put us at Adams Gap.
And sounds like you've not had any fueling issues at all since you got straightened out.
It's all been about the pizza.
Straightened. I know, it was the pizza. The salt pills kept going. James left us with the container, but I wasn't taking them every hour. But we were definitely like keeping an eye on that. That was great. And by now we were using some caffeine. I tried to hold off from doing it too much in the beginning, but by now it was like, again, we were burning every boat we had. It was like Voltaren, caffeine pills, and some salt pills, but that was like the rotation. So they would just hand me whatever, and I was like, I don't care.
How much caffeine were you taking?
I mean, it was probably mostly in the evening or nighttime. I honestly don't know. You'd have to ask Matt that question. All the things looked the same, so there's a point where it's like, it is what it is. I think Cody might have said in something, maybe a text or in a comment, like, if she dies, she dies, which is not a healthy approach. I would not condone that. But like, I was feeling fine. There was nothing to be concerned about. So we just kind of kept doing what was working.
Yeah.
And tried to maintain status quo. So, and they did a great job of doing so. So.
Yeah, you were moving well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do not condone that mentality. We should not be trying to kill ourselves. But there was a point where it's like, we're all in. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good mindset to have when you're in it, as long as there's nothing that's like super dangerous.
Yeah.
and
no,
that's why
definitely.
you have a crew. Like if you were truly in danger, they're gonna stop you.
Yeah.
It's better to have a crew because sometimes you can't make that decision yourself anyways.
It's
Oh, yeah.
like
And,
more.
to speak to Pete, like he has seen a lot. Like you said, he's been on a lot of like incredible FKTs. Been out there with Tara, and like sometimes I could see everybody looking at Pete like, "Are we good?" And he was like, "Fine." So
I love it.
whatever Pete says goes.
That's right. Yeah. Pete has plenty of experience
Plenty,
seeing that, so
yeah.
that's for sure.
Yeah, and he again a great pacer. Like he like literally running backwards, just talking my ear off, and like just such a joy to be with. But to utilize him as like, hey, you want to take a couple miles? I know Matt was happy because he didn't have to run, and so it was cool to have him out there. It was really neat. So
Yeah, where
yeah,
we at
there
now?
we
We're on day 4 right now, right?
Yeah, so the start of day 4, we did Adams, and this was when, so I woke up, Cody leaves, he's got a newborn, so he's got to go home, and it's Pete and Matt, and we're kind of cruising throughout the day, and then Pete paces me for a little to Porter's Gap. Porter's Gap is like one of my favorite aid stations in Pinhoti, and it's just a really familiar spot for me and my family, so I was excited to get there. And Pete, gosh, was cruising, so that was a good pick me up. Then at Porter's, I got to pick up my friend Kelly. She ran with me for a bit, and we got all the way up to Horn Mountain, so that was pinnacle for Pinhoti 100 runners. And that was when, like, probably our most, like, probably stressful moment of the whole thing was we got to Pinnacle. It was daylight enough that I put sunscreen on, and I got some food and kind of went cruising. I think Pete, like, my legs were getting pretty uncomfortable from the swelling. So he kind of, like, we elevated them and made sure everything was looking okay and went on my way. And Matt, I think, said, like, this is where it's really going to, the FKT is made. Like, you've got to kind of hammer on this section. But I was feeling great. So I started moving really well. And the sun was setting, and it was, guys, like the most beautiful sunset. In a section I knew super well. So it just felt really exciting. I was listening to this playlist my friend had made me, and everything was aligning. Until I realized I didn't have a headlamp.
Oh.
I went to take a picture of the sunset because I was like, I want to remember this moment. It's my last sunset, hopefully, of the FKT. And I saw all these texts from Matt start coming through, and he's like, I see something like, don't have a headlamp, don't worry, Todd is coming, 100. He and his wife were out flagging for the race that was in 2 weeks. And Matt had driven down with Kelly and Pete and said something. They ran into him at Porter's Gap, and he said, oh, it's going to be a beautiful sunset. And something about that made Matt realize, like, we did not give her a headlamp, which is also my fault. I should have thought of that. And Todd, so Matt starts getting his vest on. Matt is a great runner, but doesn't run frequently. He's much more a cyclist. And so grabs his vest. And Todd said, like, no, I can do this. So somehow they end up at Bulls Gap, I believe. I'm not really sure how, but Todd grabs a couple gels and downs them and sprints up. I think he ran about 4 miles at, like, I mean, I've looked at his Strava data on there. I think at one point it was like a 6-minute grade adjusted pace, like straight up from Bulls Gap, just like going as hard as he can, with 2 headlamps in tow. So, fortunately, I didn't really stress because I kind of knew about it after the fact. But I'm pretty sure Matt almost had a heart attack. I think he was so worried. But yeah, so then I saw Todd, and I think he was pretty tired, and I just said, like, I'm gonna let you Sherpa me back to the Bulls Gap, and so we just kind of ran in tandem for a bit. And when I got to Bulls Gap, I think we all kind of like laughed. I think Matt was like delirious. I think he was really panicked, but it all worked out, and it was a really cool part of the story because Todd was the reason I had even considered this to begin with, and he absolutely saved the effort. So that was cool.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I bet he was freaking out because like he probably felt responsible. Like that's what he's there for, to make sure that you don't forget that stuff. So
I know.
How long was that section?
It was like, I'm gonna probably get this wrong, but it was more than 8, maybe 9, maybe 8. But the sunset it started setting within a couple miles.
Oh.
So I think I had about 4.5 in the dark. So I had about 30 minutes where I had to use my phone.
Yep.
Light. And it's, if you know Horn Mountain, it's like pretty technical on top. It's a ridge line. So it's pretty rocky. But it was just, looking back, I'm like, it couldn't have happened any other way. It was just the perfect thing. But I'm sure Matt would have much preferred it not to happen.
Yeah.
It was cool though.
it all worked out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And he got pictures of Todd suiting up to go, and it was just this beautiful like sunset. So I gave Todd a very big hug when I saw him, and I told him I owe him very many volunteer hours moving forward.
Yeah, you got to go volunteer at Pinhoti 100 now, right?
Yeah. I went out and I volunteered with Nathan and Kim from Pinhoti Outdoor Center because they also were a huge help. They brought pizza and they let the crew use their hostel for different things to sleep or shower or whatever. So many people like that were incredible help. So
that's pretty awesome.
That is awesome.
It's amazing to see, the community come together to help for something like that.
Yeah.
You just you never really know. You feel like you're going to get support, but then to actually see the people that step up and go above and beyond, it makes a huge difference.
It does. And I feel like I know these people, but I don't feel like they have any reason to show up for me. And that was really cool. The Hendersons showed up at a few different aid. And then the Wrights were just super helpful with some of the coordinating ahead of time, and just really advocating for me and cheering me on. And it was humbling for sure to feel like people that didn't sign up for this were out there saying like, you can do it, we're excited, and believed in me even when I definitely was starting to doubt myself. So it was cool. Really lucky.
Well, it's when you're an athlete that is from that area or spends a lot of time in that area, people know you, and they, and you've obviously been a big advocate of the sport, and you've been kind out on the trail, so like people would want to help you, and that's the thing. It's like that stuff comes full circle. So I always, we talk about this all the time, and it's important for us because we have a team that runs for East Coast Adventures, and we don't pick the team based on your performance.
Yeah.
We pick the team based on how you are and how your character is out on any race, whether you're volunteering or running, because that is truly what matters in the end. People are going to remember some of your wins. They're going to remember some of your FKTs, but what they don't ever forget is how you treated them.
Yeah.
And especially in their lowest time. And that's really what makes this sport so amazing. And truly, it's what keeps people coming back. It's because you can be dead last running a loop course, dead last, and trip and fall, and first place will stop and help you up, because that is just what this sport is. And there's very few circumstances where that doesn't happen. And it just, you can see it all over the place. And I just absolutely love that. And it's the same for you. Like, people are coming out to help you because you've been good out on the trails. You've been a part of the community and a good advocate for the community. And, it's that stuff comes full circle. And for anybody that's listening, like, don't forget that. Like, even if you don't trail run, just go help, and you will see and you will feel what this community is about. That's all it takes.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. You know, like when I went out to Pinhoti 100 to help for a little while, like being on that side and watching people who had never experienced the sport as like a crew.
Yeah.
They were trying to help their runners, and to be able to watch them be like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And even from some of the people that crewed me who had never experienced it, at least in that way, um, you realize why this is so special. And it's really not about the running. It's about people getting to know each other on a different level and getting to, I don't know, connect. And I think that in today's society, we do so little of that in a real way. There's so much, you know, technology and with social media, like blessing and a curse, but
Yeah.
for there's so much where we're, you know, antagonizing each other. And in this moment where you're coming together, like, hey, let me pop your blister. Hey, let me rub Voltaren on your leg. Like, hey, what do you need? Is just incredible. And I think that it's what keeps me coming back, but also it's especially humbling when, you know, a lot of imposter syndrome, and I'm like, why would I think that I could do something like this? And drag a bunch of people out here with me and know that failure is a very high likelihood. But then little by little to see so many people come out and say like, hey, we've been cheering for you, we've been watching you, was something that like I'm still processing and trying to like wrap my brain around, because I feel very undeserving. I also feel like, again, why me? There's so many, you know, Corey and Alyssa, Caleb, all the people who have come before me. I just heard incredible athletes, and then to be able to even be close to, you know, in the same realm as them is, I don't think I've wrapped my brain around that. So I still feel like I'm like, yeah, but like there's, you know, I don't know.
Hard work pays off.
Yep.
So
There's nothing more intimate either than, you know, your friend popping your blisters.
no, you get to know each other. That's not with Cody. I was like, you get to know each other real fast.
Yeah. No, I mean, congratulations though. It truly is a huge deal to get
Thank
this
you.
FKT, and it was a lot of work, a lot of planning. But I want to, you know, we got to finish with day 5 here. Let's
Yeah,
hear
we're almost
this.
there. It's long. Sorry, guys.
No, I love it. I'm ready to hear it though. I want you to bring us home here.
Yeah, where were we? We did bowls. Then it kind of goes nighttime. We get to Trammell. Kind of uneventful. Did a quick rest before we get to the last road section, which is Alabama. You're heading, actually, you head across 280, which is a major highway out here, which I had picked up my pacer. Cody came back. He went home, did what he needed to do, and then like so kindly asked his wife, who incredibly kindly, I think I worded that wrong, was a saint in her own right, to say like, sure, go on out. Again, but I think when Matt told me like, hey, Cody's coming back out, I think the biggest smile. Like it was just like, he's a very fun person to hang out with. And to know that I had one more person in the mix.
Mhm.
Kelly is like a very strong, steady pacer. She's a great navigator, and is just a very loyal friend, and we know each other really well. And you know, Pete's out there like helping and encouraging and just making it fun, and Cody is just the life of the party. So it was a great blend of people. And then Matt sitting there probably trying to stay awake. So we're at the last morning and it's still dark out, and they all go and get a lot of hash browns. I think something like that happens at Jack's. We finished with Jack's, I think. So we get to the last road section. Cody has a beautifully curated playlist, probably with some Britney Spears, and we start kind of just crushing the road. And it's like, I still couldn't believe that we were heading to Flag and we were that close. And I think Matt joins me for a little while. It's kind of at this point, they're just doing a couple miles and jumping in and jumping out. And at that point, I I I stopped at the van and I said like, I stopped and I said, you guys, nobody's gonna understand any of this. And we all just like laughed because everybody's like, you're right. This is the one like experience that I can't put it into words. And it's really nice to try here. But I think that's a moment that I'll never forget. It was still dark and we were all like, we're gonna do this, but also like no one's gonna get it. And that's what makes it extra cool. So then we go do the last wilderness section. Kelly beautifully navigated the Weagufka Wilderness, which is still, a challenge. And at this point, we're getting like, I'm nervous about the clock. I'm not feeling like I can rest at all. So we start moving, and then the last little hiccup was that I had scouted this section, and there was some road service roads that were, I would say, a good bit downhill. So I was excited for those because I thought we'll get some time and I'll have a little bit more of a buffer that I wanted for Corey's time. But he so kindly pointed out that the trail had been rerouted onto a really lovely section of trail, but that was definitely going to take a little longer. So Cody jumped in and we kind of hammered out that section as best as we could. And then Kelly, in a beautiful storybook ending, her and I both love this trail, but neither of us had finished the entirety to Flag. I had done up to the cabins, but not quite to the very terminus. So she hopped in and, kept telling me like, Ashlie, we're fine. We're going to get there. I will tell you if you need to speed up. But I don't think I talked. I was probably not the most, pleasurable. I thought by then I'd be excited and like, we're doing this. But I was just like, we're so close. And I felt like I had the weight of all womankind on me. Like, we've got to beat the boys. So it was a little stressful, but we got there. My son was there. Matt's parents were there. And we got to see the terminus for the first time. And it was quite lovely. And, as anticlimactic as any other ultra finish is, you're like, woohoo!
Did you get emotional?
I think I was so tired of I told the crew like I don't have any tears left, but seeing Finn, our son, was emotional because he had seen the northern terminus and he got to touch the signs and we had talked to him about it. He knew what was happening, and for him to he's almost 9, he knows as much as he can, and I think he really understood that he doesn't get the distance, but he gets it. He's a smart kid. So to see him there, and I had told him the day we left, mom's about to do something that I probably, more than likely, I'm going to give it everything I can, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to get what I'm out to get. I'm going to try. I'm not going to give up. We're going to finish the route. We're going to finish the trail. But the record itself is probably 50-50 at best. And I meant that. I meant that with all my heart. But I also knew that if we don't try, we don't know. So we burned the boats. And so it was cool to let him see that and have him there for that. And yeah. So
really
then
cool.
we hobbled down and went to the hostel for a minute and took a quick nap. So
was there a celebration after the fact?
Yeah, there's some pictures of it. So Matt had brought champagne, which was really kind, but in the middle of it broke the bottle. Poor guy. Matt was, y'all, exhausted. He said, he's like, it's fine. I haven't, I've been in the van the whole time. He slept probably less than I did. And at some points I kept asking my crew, like, how's Matt? And they would, he's okay. He's doing okay. So it was just like the beautiful end of he tries to spray with champagne and it falls and breaks, and we're all just laughing like this is an FKT. Nothing goes as planned. And I learned that. So that was cool.
Well,
that was a celebration, and then we went home and slept for a long time.
Well deserved and huge accomplishment.
It is.
Wow. And then to have Pete there with you to,
Yeah.
capture all of it at
Capture,
the
yeah.
end was probably, you couldn't ask for a better person to be there with you.
Yeah.
Because
It was very
he's just
kind of
so
him.
talented. But
Yeah.
I can't imagine the feeling though of just knowing you're done.
Yep.
Hmm.
I mean, that alone probably just was like a relief, but also, was it sad?
Yeah. Like I kind of dreaded it. Like when we started, Matt and I were both like, we're so ready to do this because we've put so much in. But I knew on the other side it was going to be a bit of a letdown, whatever happened. And best case scenario happened, and we finished, and it was like we both kind of missed what, the simplicity of life, like everybody says, and the simplicity of that in an ultra. You have so many things to think about, but yet the only thing you're thinking about is moving.
Yeah.
And that was really beautiful. The trail is so beautiful. So to be done with that, it was also very, challenging to sleep without thinking that I needed to keep going.
Yep.
I think it was probably 4 or 5 nights in a row that I would wake up and ask Matt like where we were, if we were going fast enough. And he would just kindly pat me on the head and say like, it's okay, you're done. So yeah, I think the last few weeks have been still a process, like figuring out how we did it and how we're done and how we're on this side, but also, yeah, gosh, I wish I was still out there in a lot of ways. So I feel grateful for how it all unfolded, that we can look back with such fond memories and some not so fond ones, but
I was going to ask you that question about if you were waking up and just like you're thinking, I've got to go. Because like I had that after Fall State.
yeah.
Like I would
Did
just
you?
sleep and I would just wake up like, all right, got to go. And I'd be laying on the couch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not running no more.
I didn't have that at all.
Oh, I did. I had that for days.
I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
We're good.
I'm out.
Like even
It was funny to hear you say, like, when you were on the road section, you're like, you guys ran Ball State, I'm talking about. But here's the difference. When you run on the road for 5 days, the first day I was exactly like what you described. It was, oh, there's cars coming. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Day 5, I didn't care, Ashlie. I ran right down the car, down beside the car, and I just said, hit me. Just hit me.
Well, the semi trucks were really nice on a lot of these back roads where they would get like, go to the other lane.
That's great.
And then it became like, no. Don't go to the other side. Get as close as you can because it was so hot and you wanted that wind to just cool you down.
That says a lot though, because that is not great. I've gotten the wind from a semi. I don't care what the temperature is. It's especially in July.
Oh yeah.
That's not refreshing.
Oh, it was anything.
That's a lot about your condition.
Please.
Well, to that fact, when Matt did a section in the last morning, and it was still dark, in the road in Alabama, and there's a lot of dogs out there. So that's like the most, treacherous wildlife I saw was dogs, in, backcountry Alabama, where there's a lot of like, I don't know, the dogs are running free, and it's private property, and I'm just trying to do my thing. And Matt kept trying to like, defend and like make sure that they weren't going to come get me. And I was just like, Matt, the last thing I'm concerned about is a dog right now. I'm probably scary for them by the way I smell. So yeah, it was fun for him to be like, this is horrible. And I was like, oh, please, it's fine.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, you just don't care.
I just can't say congratulations to you enough. Like, huge accomplishment. And to say, make sure everybody hears your record. It's 5 days, 6 hours, and 39 minutes. And so you have the supported #1 FKT right now, which is awesome.
It is.
When you set out, did you have the goal of trying to get the overall FKT, or were you just trying to like get in the top 3, or did you feel like I can do this?
Yeah, I thought so. 7 hours between Alyssa and Corey. So once I did that math, it was like, okay, why would I not go for the overall? But mind you, Corey and Alyssa are incredible athletes. They're fantastic. And so, and I'm not like, that was very much on my mind. Like, well, if they did this, why am I thinking I could do this? But I also told Matt, like, I wouldn't set out to do this and put everybody out here if I didn't think I was capable of it. I just have to see what happens. So to answer that, yeah, that was my goal. But talk about, again, imposter syndrome. It was like, who am I to think that this could happen? But we might as well give it a shot, because if we're out here, we're going to give it everything we have. So
Absolutely.
yeah, my intention was to go for overall, you know, so I was grateful that we could pull that one off.
Yeah,
Barely.
absolutely. It barely counts. I mean, I remember when Scott Jurek was trying to get the FKT, he beat it by like minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Everybody's like, we were so worried that we were getting so close. I was like, I was worried too.
you did it though. I mean, congratulations. It's
Yeah.
such a huge, huge accomplishment. So I want to ask you one question though before we turn it over to Matt for listener questions, and that's we've your why changes a little bit each time. So I'm not going to ask you your why because we kind of went into that. But what I really want to know is, like, are you going to do another FKT? And if so, like, are you looking at something you want to try to tackle?
Yeah, I definitely feel like Pinhoti was the FKT because it was so special. I don't think I ever would have thought like this is something I would do again, but it is such a unique experience. I would 100% like, I'm open to suggestions. I feel like we're in recovery mode, and then like it's hard not to think what's next. So I have no idea what that will be, honestly. It's probably been 3 years since I've actually had not something that's next. So I'm enjoying kind of exploring what that is, but yeah, I'm open to suggestions. So if anyone has them, we'll see. But it's not off the table. I just got to convince Matt and Nick.
I'm sure when people listen to this podcast, there's going to be some comments on Spotify. So.
Well, I've already got one.
What's that?
The Benton Mackay Trail. I've told everybody that one.
That's a rough go, but maybe I'll at least start going out for Cherokee, and then we can test the waters a little bit.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, because that race is 80%.
There we go.
On the Benton Mackay Trail.
I don't know. Tara's record is very stout.
It is very stout.
That's a very good hard record too. That's a gnarly
it's a very
course.
Tough course for sure.
Yeah.
So for now, we're just enjoying the holidays and not having a lot on my agenda, but being a mom and all that entails.
Did you take a break from running after setting the FKT?
I had to. I had some tendinitis and my feet were so swollen. So I took like pretty much took the full week off, and then I started walking maybe 10 days in, which felt good because by then you're like, I feel like I need to move, but I can't really move. So yeah, I took probably a full 2 weeks off, and then I kind of hobbled a little bit and did some kind of, does this work again? And can I still move like a baby deer? But by the end of like 2.5 or 3 weeks, I started moving more regularly and running, but just kind of for fun and building a new base and seeing what that looks like. But definitely taking it easy. From the conversations I've had with the other FKT holders, it's like, take it chill. You don't need to rush back in, and your body will thank you later. So I'm trying to listen to that.
Yeah, well, if that's the only injuries you had, that's not too bad.
No.
You managed that very well. That's great.
Yeah, so pretty grateful overall. The feet looked pretty swollen. Like there was one minute, I would send you guys personally this photo, but we are not posting it anywhere. It was like Matt he wrapped my feet because it was just the swelling needed to stop. And he took it off, and like we both like started laughing almost to tears. It was like, what just happened? Because I had like quadrupled in size. It's terrifying, but it went down pretty quickly. It just.
Did you look at Matt and say, burn the boats?
He was thinking like, oh wait, he was like, probably too much. I don't know, whatever they were handing me, but I didn't die, so
Didn't
we'll
die.
take that.
He's
We
like,
burn the
here,
boats.
here, take this caffeine pill and this salt pill. Go.
And they're the same. They look the exact same. So sometimes they'd be like, which is which? And I learned that, like, if you lick one, you know it's salt pretty quickly.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no, the
That's
other
awesome.
last thing is the inside of your mouth is just destroyed.
Yep.
I'm sure everybody else has experienced that. It's like, I still have some, again.
Yeah, sometimes when you
that.
think about our sport, it's like we're dumb.
Yeah.
But, we love it. It's okay.
Yep. We did a live stream of a training run last week, and this person said, "Why are you guys running?" I'm like, I gave 3 answers. One's because we're stupid. 2 because we do hard things, and I think third was like we're running for championships. But like you're right, like sometimes we just do some stupid stuff.
We do, and like I think it makes us better people. But the problem is, like, we're never satisfied, and that's the problem. It's not like, oh, that was great.
And I don't even know if it's like that we're never satisfied. It's that, and I guess that is true. But I think for most of us, it's we can always do better. Like that's always in your head.
Yeah.
No matter how good you do.
Mm-hmm.
I can do better. Like I think I can. And you're like, I can do this, and I can do this, and I can fix this. And it's like, yeah, to your point, like you're never satisfied. But I think it really drives down into like we're always feeling like we can do it better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't sometimes. And then sometimes. We like nail it, and we're like, oh, we got it. And then it falls apart, and like it's just like this cycle. But it's just, I don't know, it's just an interesting mindset because I've quit running so many times in a race. And then like a week later, I'm on ultra sign up like, oh, I'm going to do this. And I'm like, you idiot. Like you just said.
I think it's a really good point though, David. It is. It's like we want to continue to do better. And sometimes when you try to do it better, you correct everything, but then you find one other thing. Like, nutrition or, figuring out, there's so many things I look back, I'm like, oh, I could have done this or this would have been changed. And sure, I probably could have corrected that. Something else would have fallen through. So, but that's what makes it fun,
Absolutely.
It's boring.
And it is. And what's so fun about it, it's not the same for everybody.
No.
You are putting together your own jigsaw puzzle. And like and only you know it. And, there are certain things that work for everybody, but there's a lot of things that don't. And, nutrition, shoes, when you need to rest, all this stuff is unique to you. And that's what makes it so fun. It's like, okay, I've learned this. I can do this. I've learned this.
Yeah.
I sure as hell am never eating that again. like, and kind of like you're probably never going to buy those plant-based ramen noodles ever again.
Oh my gosh, never. And they'll haunt me probably for the rest of my life. Yeah, it is. It's like it's a puzzle. And I think that's, if you take that on like outside of ultra running, like, to do that in life is such a privilege and something that we should be doing. We're trying to improve ourselves and learn from our mistakes and grow as a human. And I think, people always say that, ultra running it's like a smaller version of like life and a microcosm of life. And I think that it's so true in this. Like you're experiencing things that you do in a bigger, okay. I was like, there's fireworks behind me.
No.
That's awesome.
That terrified me. I'm still jumpy. Yeah, it's really, really cool to be able to experience that and like to see like what it is that you're, what it is in your life, what it is in your life that reflects ultra running and what in ultra running reflects life.
Well, and to your point, like if you weren't already accustomed to that and like experiencing that, you would have never made it past day 2.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
you're training for that because like Pinhoti went. This FKT did not go well those first 2 days, and you're literally already troubleshooting as soon as you start. And like that's the stuff that it's so fun to like, man. those first 2 days were awful, but we figured it out, and I still got it. And like, that's what's so cool is like, shit can go so bad.
Yeah.
But you have the power to get the wheels back on the car or to get the train back on the track. You do. And if when you work through that, or your crew works through that, that's something that is just so cool and fun to see. And I am so cool. I'm so excited to like hear that you did that, because that makes the story even better. Because sometimes, people are just like, oh yeah, it went great, I didn't have any issues. And you're like, I'm sure something didn't go great, but whatever. So to hear that, it's like, it's kind of cool, because you started with adversity the very first day.
Yeah.
But you didn't let it deter you. Day 2, you're crying, you're hungry, you're not having a good time out there, but you all just work through it. And that's the thing. And I feel like that's what this sport kind of does for you, is it does give patience to work through things. Whether it's like everything in your life's going wrong, or food, or, whatever, or, it's an injury, or you got the wrong shoes, whatever. In the beginning, you overreact. But as you get experience in this sport, you don't overreact. You're planning. You're like, okay, when I get to this next spot, I've got to change my shoes. I want those socks. I need to get this fuel, and you just start notching that stuff off, and you're just like, and eventually you become your own expert. And that's what's so fun about it.
Oh yeah. And like, when all else falls apart, you hopefully, if you have a crew like mine, they're the ones picking up the pieces. So it's like, as you say, like, you had to be patient and like trust that you knew what was, that it would turn, because it doesn't always get worse, even though it feels that way. But if I had not had, especially those first few days, Chris, Matt, and James, they're saying like, hey, this is low, but it doesn't always get worse. Let us pick you up and help you. Not literally, they did not pick me up. I did it on my own. Well, but like, that is pivotal. And I think sometimes in life too, you have to get by with the help and support of others. Like, there were times I didn't believe in myself, and as I joke, like, let's beat the boys. Yes, but who was it there the first few days to help me beat those boys? Was a bunch of other boys. So I thought that was very cool to see them know that ultimately, even if I wanted to settle for a female, or I didn't believe I could get that overall, it was a group of men and women saying like, no, you're doing this, and this is what you want, and we're going to help you. And so it takes a village, and I've got a pretty kick-ass one. So
yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
As she was talking too, I just realized what I'm going to name this podcast.
What's that?
Burn the boats.
Burn the boats. Burn all the boats.
All right, Matt. Well, let's turn it over to you, sir.
All right. We got a couple questions. The first one is, what was the most challenging part of planning out the FKT?
I think, well, I got really easy, because Matt just would say like, this is going to be me. Like, I'll figure it out in the moment. So I think it was trying to figure out the nutrition aspect, because you can only have so much that's palatable after some time. You can't do a lot of cooking. And I didn't really want Matt to be in charge of that. So I would say the food, and then the logistics of just, Pinhoti is a really, really beautiful and convenient trail. Not like the BMT, where like every road crossing is a new section. And that makes it really approachable. But there still is a lot of logistics of like, where do you drop somebody off? Where do I see you? Are we going to have self-service? So I would say a combination of those two. And this sounds silly, but making sure my son was cared for. So it's like the things that happen outside of, like, okay, is he good and, going to get to school on time? And of course he did. My mother-in-law is fantastic, and she came and helped and navigated. But I would say it's a combination of all those.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. The next question is, what was your favorite gear that you used during the FKT?
Besides Voltaren, that doesn't count as gear, does it?
Yeah, it counts as part of my gearbox. I use it a lot.
So good. Yeah, I would say that for sure. That's a really good one. I have to think about that a little bit, but I, I really, I mean, I don't know. It's all pretty basic. I mean, I like my poles, but those are really helpful. Yeah, I'm gonna defer to like the products rather than the gear. My gear is pretty basic. It's like, you know, the same rabbit shirts on repeat and the same Nike shorts and shoes. Um, but I would say, yeah, sticking to more of like the products, which would be like Voltaren. The caffeine pills, which I had never used, were great. Those were huge and like very, very beneficial. And I mean, I really liked the fuel. Like, Precision fuel was great because it's super easy to, we've talked about this before. Those 90-gram gels you can just
Yep.
down. And like I said, we were rationing them towards the end because I love them so much. And I also use the inner vet gels too. But so yeah, I would say more products rather than gear. I don't think I have anything super elaborate or flashy that like really saved the day, but I did have some good high visibility vests that were probably pretty advantageous on the road, as well as in the hunting section. So I guess I'll give props to that too.
Yeah, it is. It is a good thing to have some high vis vests for the hunting.
Yeah.
I don't know how the Pinhoti is compared to the BMT, but once it becomes hunting season, the trailheads are took over with all the
Yeah.
hunters, and like when the bear hunts start, I mean that's what is up there.
Yeah, I saw one at one point. Saw a hunter in a tree stand. Fortunately, I happened to have neon shorts on too, so I was like all high vis. But there was a moment of like, I see you, you see me. I'm gonna be as quiet as I can, but I'm also just trying to get through here alive.
Yep.
And he was fine. But it's like it's just the relief of knowing that if they like they'll see me,
Hmm.
there's no reason. Hopefully they won't. That they're not going to be disguised by like the neutral colors that I'm wearing. So when you hear so much gunfire in the distance, it's a little
Yep.
unnerving. You don't need to have that in your thoughts. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
props to hide it.
What was your favorite section that you ran?
Oh, that's I would say as far as the trail goes, my favorite is always like the Pine Glen section to High Rock, which is where the start of the Pinhoti 100 is. So you get to start that in the morning. It's usually still dark. It's pretty. It's rolling hills. Um, I love that section, and then I love Porter's Gap to Pinnacle. And both those sections I got to do with my girlfriends. So I would say those were just really fun times doing that. And they happen to be like super beautiful sections to begin with. So, but if you were like wanting to do a section hike, I would highly recommend like Pine Glen area, to like towards Cheeha, so towards High Rock, or Porter's Gap up towards Pinnacle and Horn Mountain are gorgeous. Such beautiful spots on Pinhoti. So, and right now, I mean, the leaves are probably only have another week or so, but they're beautiful. So
Yeah.
get out there, people.
Absolutely.
I've not spent any time on any of these sections. So like
It's great.
you're naming them, I'm like, I have to look into these.
Okay. Yes. No, it's beautiful.
The
So,
only sections I knew is like when you said Snake Creek, because
yeah.
that's also on the Cruel Jewel or
Georgia
the
Jewel.
Georgia Jewel, and then Johns
Mhm.
Mountain,
So now you just
Yep.
need to run Pinhoti 100,
and
There
then
and
you
then the
go.
following year you can run Southern States.
they got a
and-
There you
100
go.
too. So that
yeah.
All right.
They do.
The next question is, what was your favorite food that you ate?
Um, we got to give it to the hash browns. I think Jack's hash browns were great. I mean, there was just some moments that they hit so well. They were like hot and fresh, and then with the Coke together,
yeah.
that was ideal. One time, Matt brought some of those like I think they're Snaps pickles, and he put them in the ice chest, and they were like cold little pickles. He probably got them from a gas station. Those with Coke were great. And then also probably that fresh pizza that we got. So it was all the real fresh food probably.
Yeah.
Like I said, those Uncrustables are great for some time, but after a while, it's like it's rough.
Yeah, I think you can buy a box of 4, and that box of 4 is plenty. Because after
It
that,
is.
I'm like, I am done with these things.
I've learned if you like smash a few potato chips in them, it helps with the palate. Like it's like salty, sweet, but it's like those are really hard, and they're easy in theory to get down because you can
Yeah.
just soak them up. But
It's
I
like
have a whole bunch in our freezer that needs to be utilized.
the honey ones are really good.
Oh, I've not tried those.
Oh yeah, they're good.
They have Nutella too.
I've not tried those ones.
I bet those are good too.
We might need to experiment. for
That
future
might be the
reference.
key. Just switch up all the flavors every time. Never eat just
Yep.
peanut butter and jelly.
Different types of potato chips. You got a good
Yeah.
change with it. I like it.
That is all the questions I have.
Cool. Awesome. I like it easy.
Yeah. Well, Ashlie, do you have any questions for us?
No. Except for when are you going to get out on the Pinhoti?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I definitely got to sign up for a race for next year. So I'm either, I don't know.
Good.
I want to go back and do Pinhoti 100 because obviously I messed my ankle up on mile 1 the last time I ran it and made it to like mile 57. So I've still got to go back and get redemption on that run. But I also want to do Southern States.
It's
So
awesome. It is awesome.
yeah. So I don't know. I got to figure out. I am signed up. I'm with you. I have no races.
Free agent.
Yeah. So I have no idea what I'm going to do. I really wanted to race Black Toe and which is a John Hard race over near Nashville. And because no one's ever gotten 100 miles on that course in 24 hours. So that was going to be my goal. But it's the same weekend as our race now. So I can't do it.
No. In July or a different race?
It's the end of Jan. It used to be at the end of January.
Yeah,
Okay.
we got.
And
Gone
our
Loco.
race used to be the
Loco.
second. And our race used to be the second week of February.
Okay.
We moved it to the first weekend of February, and John moved his race to the first weekend of February. So now they overlap, and I didn't even know it. I've been talking about this race for like a month now. And then John texted me, and he's like, no Rabdo, or he put hashtag no Rabdo for Compton 2026. And I'm like, yeah. So then I was like, I better sign up. So I go to sign up, and I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah.
So I text him, and he's like, what? I was like, we got to plan better.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
hard.
I'm like you. I'm a free agent right now. I'm going to figure out what I want to do. But it's funny, as you were talking, I pulled up Southern States 200 just to see when the race
I
date
mean,
is.
you already know how I feel. It is a great race. It's well put on. I'll be out there in some capacity. I don't know if I'll race it, but at the very least, I'll likely be volunteering. I told James we need to have like the most kick-ass aid station you could possibly come up with, because he was also like, I don't know if I'll run it. So we'll see. But I'll be out there one way or another. So you should, and it's for anybody listening, like if you want a good point to point and you're in the Southeast, like it's impossible to beat both Southern States and Pinhoti in this area. And just you get to see so much of the trail. So
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'll be thinking about that one. So maybe that one will go on my list.
I got a whole list of stuff for next year.
All right. Well, what's one that we might be something we'd be excited to hear about that you're going to be racing? Anything like off the?
Oh, it's just like because we always do a race director every once a month.
Mm-hmm.
So they got all these cool races that I've learned about, like
I
like
got you.
Beast of the
Yeah,
East.
yeah.
I'm like, Beast of the East sounds really cool. And then Coyote Ugly's got their Coyote Ugly 50K that sounds pretty interesting.
Okay.
So it's gonna be some of those different races that I've never.
Yeah, and we definitely got to make it over to Chattanooga to run some of Jenny's
Bad
races
Beard,
for Bad Beard, because
Yep.
we need to support her.
The stump jump or
Yes.
yeah. So like
I
all
got
those.
that.
So like it's like 50Ks that I've never read.
Yeah. Well, those are great ones. And the nice thing is 50K, you in and out, get done for the afternoon. Go home, have dinner, sleep into bed. So
And
you
then
just
like no
not-
business. I want to do no business next year.
You should.
Yes, I've
You
heard
should.
amazing things. A lot
good-
of good friends
it's a
of
good
mine have done
race.
no business.
So
Awesome.
Well-
And then best of luck for this weekend too.
thank you.
Yep.
Excited. What will you be eating? Sorry, I wanted to interrupt with that one.
I'll be eating. I'll be drinking a lot of Hopper Lot,
Okay.
and then oatmeal cream pies,
I love it.
pierogies. So I'm gonna do mashed potatoes so I can drink it, but no broth.
See, that's
No
where you're
broth.
missing out. My mashed potatoes and chicken broth mixed together. That's
Nope,
the best
not
stuff
me.
ever.
Nope.
See,
That's-
Ashley agrees.
Nope.
I do. It's just like we were doing that when we were helping at the aid in Porter's Gap, and like people will come in and be like, "My runner is not keeping anything down." And I was like, "We have just the trick."
Absolutely.
And it's like just a little mashed potatoes with a good bit of broth. I was like, they won't
Yes.
even know there's real calories in there. They're just gonna like gobble it up.
Oh,
And
It's amazing.
David knows my story of this potatoes and broth stuff.
don't ruin it for me, because now I'm gonna need it.
Matt-
Oh,
Matt gets a little. He hallucinates in races. He thinks his stomach starts separating
stomach's
food,
pretty
and that
good.
he only throws up certain
oh,
things.
it knows how to do it. It's pretty good.
Yeah. So he's trying to
Really?
he's trying to explain to me in a race that I'm sitting beside his wife and we're just dying laughing because he's like, see, I only threw up the chicken broth. I'm like, Matt,
Yep.
no,
Mashed
it
potatoes-
doesn't work like that.
Mashed
sir.
potatoes never
It
came up.
does not work like
Mashed
that.
potatoes.
Only the broth came up.
Yeah, does not work like that.
It worked that day.
But see, that was when your brain is probably not processing and you need more food, right?
I needed more caffeine. That was the
There you
whole. That
go.
was the issue.
Coca-Cola.
Oh, I can do a 2-liter Coca-Cola.
Okay.
No
That's
problem.
impressive.
I think
Awesome.
that I ran Georgia Jewel pretty much on a Coke. It was a Coke to every aid station.
I
Just
love
Coke.
I mean, that is like jet fuel.
It is.
The only thing is, I put it in my flasks, and it will definitely squirt you in the face if you like all the carbonation. That'll wake you up.
Oh yeah.
No, we had that. We were doing Vol State training, and
Yeah.
we had to run from Madisonville to Vonore, and it was gonna be like 20 miles that day. And there's a McDonald's, so Mike, we all filled our flask up with Coke. Mike didn't let the air out of it as we're running.
yeah.
We're running down the highway, and his explodes. Just shoots out everywhere. Like his lid goes into the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it actually shot the rubber tip off of the lid.
Yep.
Like of your Solomon bottle. It shot the
Yeah.
whole rubber tip off.
I could see how that could happen. There is some carbonation in those bad boys. You gotta get it out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He obviously didn't. He filled his all the way to the top
And didn't.
and then
Yeah,
just started running.
didn't
I
drink
always
any of it.
like fill mine about 3/4 of the way up and then top it off with water.
Yeah.
You know? And but it was so funny. I
You
mean,
learned a
Mike's
lesson.
we're just running and all of a sudden you just hear it and
Yeah.
it just shoots it off.
Exploded.
It was funny.
Like as I'm running, I'm like, popping the top, taking a sip. No, not Mike.
But you guys, it was a lesson he learned. I'm betting he knows now.
It's a good.
Right?
It's a good story.
we did find the lid.
We did.
Oh, that's probably the most impressive part of the
that
whole
was
story.
that was like a Ball State scavenger hunt training
It
run.
was,
It was
yeah.
kind of good.
Oh gosh, I like that. Well, I'll remember that next time I fill my Cokes because I didn't have to do that this time. But in the future, I don't get to have everybody do everything for me, so I'll know. Let's not explode this Coke bottle.
Yep.
Well, Ashley, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the podcast again and share your story. And just a huge congratulations. I mean, you
Yes.
continue to, to just grow and get better in this sport. Obviously, we're watching your times just when we were talking about like the Rebecca 50 miler. I mean, it looks like you shaved like 40 minutes off that race just from year to year, which is pretty impressive. But I mean, you're doing cool things. I can't wait to see what you do next. Me and Matt were excited to get you on here and learn about the FKT attempt. And, when Pete's sharing those pictures, you can't help but like know that, oh, there's a story here. We got to hear this. We have to hear this. So, and thank you so much. You did a great job of sharing the story. I mean, day by day, you
gave a great breakdown, and you were open and shared everything. So thank you so much. Because sometimes, it's you don't remember everything, or you don't want to remember everything. So thank you for sharing all of that. But most importantly, just congratulations and a huge accomplishment.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you for letting me share it. It's really the first time I've sat down and kind of gotten it all out. I'm working on a race report, and I feel like it's a lot harder to do that. So it's fun to sit with friends and kind of banter, and you guys get it. And that's the best part is, when I say to my crew, like, nobody's going to understand it, y'all do, and people do. And it's a special thing that we got to share, but it's really cool to share it with others who can appreciate the sport and the effort. So thank you so much for having me on. It was really, really cool.
Absolutely. And now you can just listen to this and write your race report.
I know, it makes it so much easier.
Just get the transcripts. She's like, here we go, copy that. There we go.
That's awesome.
I'll just give everybody the link. I'll be like, here you go. Here's
There
the
you go.
podcast.
Perfect.
Even easier.
Best 2 hours of your life right here.
Yeah.
Just listen to this.
I love it.
Well,
A lot of
Ashlie,
followers.
thank you so much. We'll get this edited and shared, but thank you so much for taking the time to share your story.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.